what school you're here so that we can go ahead and count how much people we have from quorum. I know a lot of people are here from the district office. I thank you for joining us. But you will not be counted as quorum.
Also, to facilitate identification, once you put your name, you can also include your school at the beginning of your name so we can easily identify who's here tonight.
Yes, thank you. So if you see Rachel's name, she has PSIS 499, then her name, Rachel Montanamo. So if you could do that to yours, go ahead and please do so we can have. I see 193, I see PS 21, I see 32, I see 219, 499, 201. Thank you.
I'm gonna log out and then change the name.
I could go ahead and change your name if you tell me who you are. Let me see. Okay, what
It's Genevieve Zhang, but like I'm also representing 237 and PS 163Q.
is 237? There's what's her name?
Araceli.
Yeah,
But
she's coming.
Spanish. Yeah, Araceli, because I'm the recording secretary for 237, but the co-president for 163Q. So either way.
You could put both,
Mm-hmm.
but you're the president for one and the secretary for the other, right?
Yes.
So who are you here representing?
Angela Lamb for
Yeah.
163Q.
Okay, so 163, because the reason why I'm asking these questions is because you can't vote for two schools.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're the designee for both schools, then you can.
Okay.
But if Araceli's coming, then she will vote for 237, and you're
Okay.
just here as a guest as 237, but voting for 163. Got
Okay.
it?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Unless that you got a letter saying that you're also the designee for 237, then you can vote for both schools and you would do two votes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, at this time, I think we have more than enough. We have quorum. Can I go ahead and start? Rachel.
Yes.
Okay, let me start recording, please. Jenny, can you start the recording?
It's recording.
Yeah, it's been recording.
Let me try to share. Can you guys see me? Can you guys see my?
Not yet.
Nope. Can you see?
Not yet.
That's weird. I'm sharing. It's not letting me share. Why? I don't know. Jenny, can you go ahead and share for me?
I have to log in. Give me some time, okay?
I don't know why it's not letting me share. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. I apologize. Okay. Now I think, here we go. Now can you see it?
Yes.
Woo! I did it. All right. Welcome to District 25 President's Council meeting. Today is September 16th, 2024. Our meetings start at 6:30. And it's always going to be the same meeting link that you would be able to find at d25.nyc. And it's always going to be the same meeting link. Hold on one second. Okay, I don't know why it's not letting me move to the next. There we go. At this time, I would like to congratulate each and every one of you, parent leaders. You are parent leaders. You stepped up. Thank you so much. You for stepping up at your school for your PAPTA. You have allowed your school to be in compliance, meaning that they have a running, functioning PAPTA. It's going to be an amazing year here at the district office and President's Council. We guarantee you that we're here for you to help you every step of the way so that it could be an amazing, wonderful school year. As you know, term limit is for 1 year only. The term limit of an office of the PAPTA officers that are elected to serve are for 1 year term, beginning July 1st and ending on June 30th of the following year. For example, you started 2024 and you will end on June 30th, 2025. And I got this from Chancellor's Regulation, page 11. Something is, oops. At this time, really, do you want to go through this one, Rachel, or you want me to do it?
Sure. So welcome to President's Council. We're made up of the presidents or their designees for each PAPTA within our District 25. And the goal of President's Council is to provide support to all of the district PAPTAs. And it's also a requirement by the Chancellor's Regs A660 that each of the 32 school districts have a President's Council, as well as the boroughs, 5 borough high schools and District 75.
Sorry. There we go.
While interaction is limited to the PAPTA presidents or their designees, the meetings are open to the general public, which is why they are posted on the district's website. We also encourage presidents to invite their entire board, as sometimes we may discuss things that are as it relates to a recording secretary's duties or a treasurer duties. So it's a lot of good information shared district-wide for all, that's beneficial for all PAPTAs. And we support the district by assisting new PAPTAs and the reestablishment of any that have ceased to function, providing guidance to our PTAs in technical areas such as bylaws and elections, as well as identifying and promoting district-wide interests. According to Chancellor's Regs A660, which governs not just President's Councils, but all PAPTAs, we are fully in compliance if we have a president and a recording secretary. A treasurer is not needed unless the President's Council intends to open a bank account, which we do have a bank account, so we do have a treasurer. Not all President's Council are equally active, and not all PAPTAs participate in their President's Council, but we highly recommend it because that's the goal of President's Council, is to support our PAPTAs of our district.
Okay, thank you. Araceli from Bias 237, are you here? La señora de la escuela 237 está aquí. Por favor, avíseme si necesito traducir para usted. I don't see her, so I just want to make sure. I told her to come and I would translate. I know Jenny's translating. And to make it less painful, I will call her on my cell so I could go ahead and translate simultaneously so that we won't make the meeting longer. Also, we're just here. President's Council, Rachel and Myrna are here to go ahead and help you with any questions that you might have. And if you should have any questions, you email President's Council. They will share your email with you, or you can email myself. Esther Maludo, and we go ahead and come up with a question, the answer for you to go ahead and help you with whatever situation might be going on in your school. At this time, I would like to introduce to you for the school year 24-25 District 25 President's Council. And the District President's Council runs a lot like your PAPTA, with the exceptions that they don't have a lot of committees and they don't have 5th grade or 8th grade graduation committees. It is basically 3 positions: president, treasurer, and recording secretary. And the president here attends the DLT meeting and the CEC meetings, just like a president at your PAPTA will attend the SLT meetings and a president's council. So I would like to take a minute to introduce your both people that are here so they could introduce themselves. Rachel Altadamo, who is your president. Rachel?
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. This is my 2nd year as president of President's Council, and my 3rd year as PTA president at PSIS 499 Queens College School of Math, Science, and Technology.
And next, Myrna Pacheco from I-219. She is your treasurer for this year.
Hi, good evening. This will be my 2nd year. Last year was recording secretary. This year will be treasurer, and 2nd year MPS MS 219 as president. Thank you.
As you can see, there is a vacancy for President's Council, which is recording secretary. At this time, we would like to introduce Eden Rubenstein from the CEC, the Community Education Council. Eden, can you please introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eden Rubenstein. I am the current CEC president for District 25. This is my third term on the council. I'm also a parent member of the PTA at PS 193, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Just want to give you a little information about CEC. CEC meets once a month. It's a community education council. All the parents that are elected on the board are elected by all the schools in our district. There are 12 seats. Those meetings are open and they're hybrid meetings. So if you want to learn more and everything you can about the district and education, the New York City, and listen to the great announcements for not only community, but our superintendent, please join the meeting. It's every first Wednesday of the month at 7:30. And I'll show you where to get that information so you can go. Anybody could attend. And the more you know, the more information you could turnkey at your PAPTA meetings. Next, I would like to take this moment to introduce my team. Team Awesome. I did notice that there's some more people that I wasn't aware were joining the meeting, but I'll go ahead and introduce you. Thank you for being here. For the most part, you will always see our superintendent, Dr. Michael D'Antona. You will always see let me go ahead and introduce the superintendent. Superintendent D'Antona, would you like to say a few words, please?
Sure. Thank you, Esther. Good evening, everyone. Pleasure to be in company with all of you guys through Zoom tonight. First and foremost, I just thank you all for taking on this added responsibility. I know it's hard enough between work and taking care of your own children, but to be there as a support for your community, I truly appreciate you guys and for the efforts that you put in to make our schools to deliver and support our kids as best we can. So thank you so much.
At this time, I would like to introduce, you already know him, Luis Latito. He's everywhere. He's our district manager in operations of special projects, and he's always there to help us. Luis, introduce yourself so they could see who you are. We have a lot of new people.
Hi, everyone. I just joined so that I can click the record button on the meetings, so that because Esther forgets to do that.
And I appreciate you. Next, I would like to introduce you to our family support coordinator, which is Jenny. Jenny.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jenny Chang. I'm the family support coordinator. I work side by side with Esther Maludo.
And I know that our deputy is here, correct? So we have a newly elected deputy. As many as you know, our superintendent moved up. Dr. Medantona became our new superintendent, and so there was a opening for deputy. So we have a new deputy, and he's here today. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Umit Cernan. Did I say that right? I always mess his last name up. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Omid Sarin. I'm so happy to be here tonight with you. And I want to thank you for all you do for our schools, for our students. We truly appreciate your efforts in making sure that our schools actually collaborate with our families and run smoothly.
Because I just call him Umid, so I always mess up his name. Sorry, I apologize for that. At this time, you will get to know what our positions at the district office is for all of us. As you know, our superintendent is looking out that all our 35 schools in our district are running smoothly and the best. So is our deputy. And Jenny and I, we handle all the parents, any issues, and we turn key information to our parent coordinators. But you'll get to learn more about us and our position as the year goes and in our monthly meetings. You could see our website here, www.d25.nyc. That is our District 25 website. Please visit it. You will find out about our schools. You will find out we have a lot of people on our team. I hope I didn't miss anybody on our team here. If there's anybody on our team that's here, please introduce yourself. I can't see nobody else. You will get to meet everybody on our team. We have people that work with everything that you might need help with. You could find it at the district. Don't hesitate to ask us if you need any help. Come to us and we'll make sure to help you. All right, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn the meeting over to your president. Rachel, it's all yours.
Okay, can you go to the next slide?
I'm trying. Hold on.
Okay.
I don't know why I get. There we go.
Okay, so we'd like to welcome all of you. If you'd like to take a moment and go around the virtual room and introduce yourselves and tell us what schools you're from, so we can start to get to know each other as a group, as we look forward to having a successful year together.
Hi, my name is Ann Kim Wong, and I'm calling. I'm the co-president PTA at PS 32 State Street.
Thank you.
Hi,
Hello,
I'm Melissa Gelman, the treasurer at Bell Academy.
Welcome. Don't be shy.
Hi.
Oops.
Okay. I'm Jennifer Berardi. I am the president of PS 21's PTA.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amy Kwok from IS 25. This is my second year on the PTA board.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Xian Chen. You can also call me Clarissa. I'm the new president of PTA at Junior High School 189 Queens. This is the first time that I joined this kind of meeting, so I'm looking forward to working with all of you. My kid is a 6th grader, so this is a first year for I'm being the president in a new school. I'm new to both the position and the school, so I think I anticipated needing of the guidance and the support from all of you. And I really appreciate any help that you can provide. Thank you.
Welcome. We
You're at
look
the
forward
right.
to helping you.
Anybody else?
I'm Deborah Ferrara. I'm the PS 209 president, and I'm the 194 co-president.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Latoya Upson, and I'm president at PS 201 Queen.
Welcome, Latoya.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Kim Williams, and I am the co-president at PS 130.
Welcome, Kim.
I know that says something different. That's work.
Hi, this is Mike Caraher, PTA president for PS 107.
Awesome. Welcome.
Hi, I'm not sure you see me, but my name is Cheryl If. I'm the first year secretary for PS214.
Awesome, welcome.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Oh, hi, I'm Jen. I'm the co-president for 163Q, and it's my second year as a board member and the first year at 237 as the recording secretary.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Anybody else?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ever Lopez, and this year I am the
Hi.
treasurer from PS201, and I have been doing PTA for 7 years.
Awesome. Anybody else?
We have someone in the chat.
Okay, because I'm sharing, let me see, hold on one second. Jenny,
I can read it.
Thank you.
We have Carrie Milano, the president for PS 129.
Thank you, Carrie. Okay, I think everybody.
And I have Ava Hong from PS 120. She's the PTA president. I'm helping her with translation right now over the phone.
Oh, great. Thank you for translating.
No problem.
Anyone else want to introduce themselves?
Hi, apologies. This is Fabian Craig. Can you hear me? I'm walking home and listening.
Yes, we can hear you.
I am,
Fabian.
oh, thank you. I'm the treasurer for PS 214. This is my first year. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you and getting to know you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Gladys Ruiz. I am the secretary at PS 201 in Flushing.
Welcome.
Welcome.
I think that's it. If there's nothing on the chat.
Is that everyone that wants to introduce themselves? Okay, well, welcome everyone. We look forward to getting to know one another over the next year at our monthly meetings. And again, we're looking forward to having you, whatever role you're in. It will be beneficial to both you and your board to turnkey the information that you learn here to your executive board, as well as details back to your own PAPTAs in the form of an update as a part of your president's report. You can provide updates to your membership based on what you learn here tonight. Well, at the meetings.
Can I say something really quick, Rachel?
Of course.
These meetings are open meetings. Everybody on your board could come and learn. It's not just the president that can that could come. It's an open meeting. All your board can attend. As you know, right now they're still being via Zoom, so it's a little bit more accessible for all your board to be able to attend. In the case that we have to vote, there would only be one vote per school. That's just it. But everybody's invited and it is an open meeting. Thank you.
You want to go to the next slide, Esther?
See, it's not liking me today. There we go.
Okay, so at our June meeting, we were unable to fill the position of recording secretary, or if anyone wanted to run together, we could have co-recording secretaries. So at this time, it's 6:53. I'm going to begin the elections for an expedited election for the position of recording secretary. The recording secretary is the same roles and responsibilities as those on the PAPTA, where you're responsible for preparing the minutes of the meetings, which all the meetings are recorded and posted online. So that's not it's not necessary that you take copious notes during each meeting. And then you would also review and obtain approval of the minutes during our meetings. And we will be taking nominations from the floor since this is an expedited election. So at 6:54, I'd like to open the floor for nominations. You can nominate yourself. You can also nominate someone else, but they would need to accept the nomination. So we would like to open the floor for those of you that would like to join the executive board for District 25's President's Council. You can either nominate yourself in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and state your name and that you're nominating yourself for the position of recording secretary.
So they're asking me a question, is there a monthly meeting? You would meet with Rachel and Myrna to go ahead and discuss the upcoming, but it's not a meeting that's gonna take a long time. It's like 10-15 minutes. You just go over what guests you would like to have at the meeting, and we'll go ahead and help you get those guests. Our superintendent always attends our meetings when he can, and he goes ahead and gives his report. But we also have had in the past special guests, and we go ahead at the district office and invite those for you. So basically, you just have to come to the meeting to take the minutes and then share them at the following meeting. Don't be shy.
And I have served as a recording secretary for the President's Council before becoming president. And it's not an onerous task. There's a lot of information that is shared, but again, there are recording secretaries. Hold on, I got a question in the chat. And I can also provide support in reviewing and editing any minutes. Or provide a template. It doesn't have to be, again, word for word. It just needs to be a short summary of what items were covered. When motions are passed, whoever made the motion, whoever seconded, what the results of the votes were. Just a brief overview of our guest speakers and what they talked about, and maybe their contact information. So it does not need to be a transcription where it's word for word typing up of the minutes of the meeting. So it's a relatively easy task, and it only happens once a month. So please, if someone could step forward and fill the recording secretary so that we can have a full executive board. Until we fill the position, we are not in full compliance with Chancellor's regs. And we also cannot conduct any voting procedures for the President's Council unless we have this position filled.
And who's eligible to run? Anybody that is president at your PAPTA, or if you're the designee at your PAPTA. So if you're the treasurer at your PAPTA and you're the one that's going to be coming to the meetings, then you would just need a letter stating that you will be the designee for your school. Come on, somebody from Bell, somebody from 129, somebody from 130, 21, 25, 32, 201, 107. It's easy, and I will help you every step of the way. Anybody?
Does anyone have any questions about the position?
Yeah, and folks, you can rest assured that Esther from the team will most definitely be helpful in this process. So if you're worried about being able to manage that, Esther is a great help. So if you're one of those that's kind of teetering on the fence, I can tell you that Esther will be helpful in this process for you.
And I can attest to that because she's a great help to me.
Don't be shy, people. Sorry, Jenny, you can't run. All right, count it down.
So any nominations for the position of recording secretary for District 25 President's Council? Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times. All right, it's 7:01 and I close the floor. We will not be able to fill the recording secretary position at tonight's meeting, which means we will not be able to review or approve any minutes from June of last year. And we will not be able to have any voting, but I don't know that we had any voting to do tonight, fortunately. We will try again at October's meeting to fill the position.
Okay. So now you have your superintendent that's gonna go ahead. I'm gonna stop sharing so he could share. Okay. Dr. Mike.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I have a brief presentation for you just to get the year started. Talk a little bit about our district priorities, things that we're setting in motion for the start of the school year. And it's important for all of you to know as PTA representatives, what it is that we're really looking to grow in as a district community this school year. So that when you're part of your SLTs, you can talk about some of the things that you've heard here, to really ask some of those questions from your building leaders around the whys behind the areas of focus in each school. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that, give you a couple of updates just around District 25 for you to just be aware of, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have moving forward. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this idea of connection before content, something that we're bringing into each of our meetings across the district. And I encourage you guys to even think about that when you're meeting with your PTA parents, is just a little space of working towards building some relationships with one another. I think it's really super important, not only for us as adults, but for our kids, that we're creating space for them to get to know each other in our classroom settings, but also for us to get to know one another anytime we have an opportunity, just to promote that space of community, to promote that space of kindness across our district schools. So you're going to see this idea of connection before content in lots of spaces, at least around the meetings that I hold in the district, because I just feel like it's important that we do that. I'll talk district goals, and then this last part is around DLT language access recommendations. I'm so excited to hear that we have families that are representing their schools that do speak languages other than English. It is really super exciting, and I appreciate you being here to participate in within your PTA. We'd love to continue to expand upon those opportunities. We already mentioned it, Mr. Sarin. I'd like to congratulate him on his new role as Deputy Superintendent. Looking forward to working with him, learning and growing together as a district community. So Mr. Sarin, congrats. In terms of this space of connecting before content, I did this with our DLT. I did this at our CEC, and I'd like to do it with you guys as well. Just for a moment, some of your hopes as a parent leader in your school for the 24-25 school year. If you just take a moment of reflection and indulge me in just this few minutes of connecting, things that you as a parent are really hoping for this school year. If you wouldn't mind either putting it in the chat or, just coming off mute and shouting it out, I would appreciate it. Just spend 2 minutes on this, if you wouldn't mind. What are you hoping for as a parent during the 24-25 school year?
Volunteers.
I love that. Thank you. Confidence in
Agreed.
my child. Confidence in my child, more participation. Love it. Anyone else? Open communication. Love it. Start time for school. Yeah. These for kids. Community. Yeah. Super important. Yeah, Jen, I like the idea of fun activities. That's for sure. More parent engagement. Absolutely. Hot breakfast. Okay, Myrna, let's talk about that. Myrna, let's go.
Kids are asking for hot breakfast in the morning.
Oh, we're gonna have to talk to that the cafeteria staff, I think. Okay, yeah, guys, thank you so much for just taking a moment, adding some of those things into the chat. I think it's just important, to get out there, even for your own parents in your own community. What are some of the things that they're really hoping for? And one of the moments of pause at the start of the school year, I'm hoping that you guys were able to see it as well, but I did share out my initial memo to the entire community, and I asked students and parents to indicate, what their hopes were. And as I was reading them, a few of them just struck me as just really being important. And some of them were very much aligned with what you were talking about, the whole idea of building confidence in our kids, the whole idea of building communication, which I think is really super important. And one that I think I just want to highlight just for a moment is this top one that you'll see in the slide. And it says, I hope my son will mature and take pride in his schoolwork in 5th grade. I hope my daughter survives her first day of 6th grade with her ADHD. I hope she makes a friend. And when I just lingered over that one just for a few minutes, it just made me realize the importance of making sure that our kids are able to connect with one another, and to not have that space of anxiety over, am I going to meet someone that I can get along with? That power of community is just so really, really super important to me and to our schools. So it's going to be an emphasis that we place in our buildings, just to make sure that our kids have an opportunity to really promote this space of mutual respect for one another. So as the year goes on, we're going to be connecting on that. You'll see self-confidence came up a number of times. You'll see fun events and activities came up in student and parent statements. One child wrote, study hard, and I hope your classmates and teachers will be very happy every day. And I think that's an important part of being a learner in our schools, is when you feel good about being there, you're more likely to learn in class than not. So something that we're going to be emphasizing across our building, and I encourage you guys to do something very similar with your PTA meetings. I'll continue to engage you guys on a monthly basis in terms of these connection before content activities, so you can bring them back to your own meetings if you so choose, to share with your parents, just so that we can create that space of connection. We did get off to a really nice start overall in District 25. Appreciate all of our building leaders and teachers for what they do, but also appreciate our parents for connecting and getting our kids to school on day one, ready to learn. So the first couple of days was super exciting, as you can see in some of our photos, and each of our schools took their own spin on it, from getting an ice cream truck, or getting a DJ out in front of the morning, or popsicles in the park the day before, or a little party, school opening party the day before school. So we had a number of things that our building leaders engaged our communities in, and I think it helps to promote a healthy opening of the school year, which we are in the midst of right now. So thank you to everyone, including you as parents, for helping the beginning of the year move as smoothly as we possibly can make it. Just really quick, for those of you that are new that might not have seen this before, I did want to make sure that you were clear on our vision statement as a district. So you'll see to the right our little graphic, District 25, from many roots growing as one community. we live in this space of strong roots, strong schools. We want to make sure that our kids, our staff, our parents, and so on have built these strong foundations of support for making our schools as strong as they can possibly be. And that takes many forms, right? It's not just about the academics, but it's also about the things that we're doing to help build social, emotional learning skills in our kids so that we can build the space of empowerment, really embracing differences and promoting that access for all. One of the big parts of, for those of you who've had an opportunity to hear me speak before, I talk about this idea of individual and collective learning. And I think that holds true for all of us in whatever role we assume in the district. Is, in order for a group to learn, individuals have to learn first. I have to be willing as an individual person to say that I need to do this a little bit better for the group to be able to do things better. So you'll consistently hear me talk about making sure that all of our constituents continue to work towards that end of growing together for improvement as a district community. So this is a real important part of our work, that you'll hear me talk about frequently, with a great deal of frequency. Something you should all know about, I am super excited about this. We have partnered due to the support of one of our assistant principals in the district, Ms. Strong, has done some outreach to District 79, and we have brought in an adult education program. The initial outreach to our families went up over 800 people demonstrated interest. That translated into over 400 people registering for classes, for evening and Saturday classes, both in ESL for our parents, as well as a GED program. And this is for any adult 21 years of age or older, could be adult children of representatives from the district or parents themselves that are interested in doing this. If you have interest, please make sure that you do some outreach to, you can put use the links that are present there to express interest. They have had registration multiple times, but I will certainly ask Ms. Strong to keep checking on the links with D79. If you do have parents that would really be interested in either of those two opportunities, I think it's really terrific. The more parents that we can get, the more of our community members that we can get access to programs that they feel are necessary for themselves, the better off we'll all be. But I couldn't be more excited than having 400 parents participate in evening and Saturday programs. So if you do know anyone, please, extend that information to them. It is posted on our D25 site, and we've spread it widely through the Gamma system as well to make sure that everyone is aware of this opportunity. So if you do have anyone that might be interested, please extend that invitation to them so that they can participate. So district priorities. We have priorities that are aligned with the chancellor. This is one for any of our schools that are in elementary grade years. This is something that you should be taking note of, because it's something that we're going to be pushing across our buildings. And that's all students learn to read well, with a focus on the use of decodable text. Now, decodable text is intended to make sure that kids, after they participate in foundations, now we have 3 programs in our elementary schools, particularly our early childhood, to support improvement in reading. Heggerty is the phonemic awareness program. That's to make sure that kids understand the sounds letters make. Foundations, which is allowing kids to take those sounds and make sure they connect with letters so that they can form words. And then HMH, which is the reading program that all of our kids use, kindergarten through 8th grade. K through 5 is into reading. 6 through 8 is into literature. But in this particular case, our focus is going to be on decodable text. That means children, after they have their foundations lesson, which is around phonics, will have an opportunity to practice in books that are connected with the skills that they just learned. So this idea of here's my learning, but here's where I get to practice is going to be a point of emphasis inside of our classrooms, so that our kids are not just learning about the sounds and letters, but they're going to have a book that is associated with those sounds and letters that they just learned to practice with and become stronger readers. This is all part of citywide kind of expectations in terms of what they call the literacy shifts. And we're going to be working on that as a district community. Now, one of the things that is promising, we have seen our early childhood readers improve in proficiency over the past 2 years with the implementation of these programs. So we are looking forward to continuing that work moving forward as a district community with an emphasis on all kids, but an expectation that our targeted subgroups are going to improve by 10% this school year. That is what we're striving for and setting aspirations for this particular school year. So all of our PTA presidents and all of our representatives here from your schools, this is something, and especially in our elementary school and early childhood, that you do mention or stay mindful of, that these are the things that you are focusing on. All students are physically and emotionally safe. This is priority 2. We are going to continue utilizing the Mind Up social emotional learning program across our schools. And Mind Up, just so in the event that you do not know what Mind Up is about, it's a program that that breaks things up into grade bands, K-2, 3-5, and 6-8. It is accompanied with lessons across each of those grades to support relationship building and behavior management through the lessons, but also in the form of what we refer to as brain breaks. So our children throughout the day learn how it is to manage their emotions and to bring themselves back to a sense of calm through these brain breaks at strategic times of the day, whether that's after lunch when kids are a little bit excited, or after physical education when they're just as excited, just to bring them back into a space of calm to engage back in learning. You'll also see in here that we want to see a 10% improvement in student-to-student relationships. Now, our middle schoolers tend to indicate that there is a lack of respect for one another, and that's something that we need to improve upon. So when we're talking about this idea of take action projects, I want our kids to take a center role in that. So we're going to share the information that came from the surveys that they themselves completed, and they're going to participate in establishing these action projects around working collaboratively as peers to support improvement in this area. My feeling is if this is the way that our kids feel, then we have to engage them in processes to help them organize so that they can feel better about being next to a peer at any time during the day. You know, so that's something we do want to work on, as our kids have said that right now they feel like that mutual respect is not at 100%, and it should be. We need to be able to do that and support that for them. So this particular goal is something that I'm really looking to push forward this school year in our district schools. Priority 3, all students with providing all students with a high quality academic experience. This is for all children in all grades, in all classrooms, particularly our classrooms for reading, social studies, science. So you'll see this little graphic on the side. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. So Anita Archer is the guru around explicit instruction. And within explicit instruction, there are expectations for practice. And the ones that we're going to be emphasizing this year is right in this first space around design of instruction, design, organize, and focus lessons, begin with a clear statement of what the lesson goals are, but more importantly, that we're providing very clear step-by-step demonstrations so that our kids can grab onto the concepts that are being taught and then be given an opportunity to have some practice with it inside of their own text from the HMH curriculum, whether it's into literature or into reading. So this particular space of instruction is what you'll see in the literacy shifts across New York City, but also in what research indicates is best practice for our kids. And we are going to follow through on that as a district community to ensure that our kids have access to content on a routine basis. So in our goal, one of the areas that we're really going to be attending to is this idea of explicit instruction and the use of data. So this aligned data, I'm going to go through as quickly as I can. I know there's a lot, and I'm going to be doing a lot of talking, so I apologize in advance for that. But the reason why we're focusing where we're focusing is because of our outcomes from last year. Now, as a city, the city did see some regression across ELA scores, as did we as a district community. And in your SLTs, I do recommend, I recommend every single principal in our district, and I know they do this through what they refer to as a state of the school, but all of our schools should be presenting information to our parent community on how it is that they as an individual school performed and how we as a district performed. So in District 25, we did see a 4.2% reduction in terms of where we were performing in terms of level 3s and 4s across the district. The most significant change was in grades 3 and 8 when we look at our district-wide data. And there are a variety of reasons for variables that play a role in this. You know, yes, some have said, you know, did it impact, was COVID an indicator of this, as these are the children that would have been in pre-kindergarten when COVID first hit? Yes, that could be possible. It does not mean that's the only reason. Some have said, well, Mike, what about the fact that we started a new curriculum last year? Could that have contributed? Yes, there's always the idea that implementation dip could have been a causal factor, but the bottom line is this is where we are. And all we can do from here is continue to work to make sure that we are supporting our kids as best as possible to make them proficient readers moving forward. The data was consistent across our subgroups in the idea that we did see reduction in performance across each subgroup, and it varied from subgroup to subgroup. The one thing that was consistent was grades 3 and 8 across District 25 demonstrated the most significant change, and grade 7 showed the most significant improvement across District 25. So we had a range of improvement and regression across certain grade levels, which we will be attending to as the year goes on this year. We have broken this up by our subgroups. Our Black learners declined by 2%, comparatively speaking, to where our learners were last year. Our Hispanic learners saw the most significant decline of 6.7%, comparatively speaking, to our other subgroups. And I do attribute some of this to the fact that we did have a much larger group of entering and emerging children that were taking the assessment for the first time this year. But needless to say, we do have a subgroup here that we're going to be paying attention to, as you saw in our goals. Our Asian learners declined by 2% as compared to the previous year. Again, grades 3, in this case 4 and 8, demonstrated the most significant decline, while our grade 7 students showed improvement. Our white learners across the district saw a decline of 3.7%. Grades 3, 4, and 8, again, in this particular subgroup, showed the most significant decline. And unlike the other subgroups, grade 6 was the one that showed the most improvement for our white learners in District 25. And our students with IEPs declined by 2.8%. Grades 4 and 8 were the most significant decline, and grade 7 demonstrated the most improvement of each of the grades. So for us as a district community, we're really emphasizing instruction and the use of our curriculum tools to support improvement, as well as a data system that I will show you shortly that we're going to be paying attention to our data from all of our assessments to support improved outcomes, and MTSS, where our folks are working towards, if it's not tier 1, which is the whole class, it's tier 2, which is in small group, or tier 3, where our children are receiving some academic intervention in the form of other types of programs, which I will talk about shortly as well. In mathematics, we did see improvement in mathematics year over year. It was about 1.4% over the course of last 22-23 to 23-24. Significant amount more work that needs to be done. We're about 67% of our kids currently on or above grade level in mathematics. So there, while comparatively speaking to the city, we're performing well, we still have a lot of work to do to make sure that we can get that other 30% of kids at or above grade level. So the ways that we're going to be focusing on doing that, you'll hear us talk a lot about math routines. Routines like which one doesn't belong, notice and wonder. You'll be hearing those from your principals inside of your schools. You'll also hear about the use of the 5 mathematical practices, which is really about promoting opportunities for our kids to talk about the mathematics that they're implementing. And you'll hear about something called the 3 Reads protocol, which is intended to help our kids navigate word problems. As many of you, if you're not sure and you did not know, the problems that our kids receive in math today are very language rich. So it's not just about using an algorithm, it's about understanding what the problem is asking in order to make sure that we can, they make a really good set of solutions for those given problems. So we're going to be emphasizing that quite a bit for our kids. You'll also see that for our district, we've had 1,300 children take the New York State Algebra 1 Regents. It's a goal for us that we continue to bolster the amount of children that are able to take the Regents exam. Of that 1,300, 90% of our kids do pass the Regents, which is good news. However, with good news, there's also more work, because our goal is not to just have our children pass the Regents. We want our kids to be able to achieve an 80 or above on the Regents, as that is kind of what an indicator for mastery looks like going into high school. So we're striving to push all of our kids to get to that space of an 80 or above on that Regents exam. Right now, we are not in that space. While we have children passing, we do not have the percentage of children that I would like. I'd love to all of them to be at that performance level of 80 or above. 85 preferably, as that is the space that's deemed as mastery for high school. Similarly, there is a data set here as well, which is accessible to you guys. So we did not meet our expectations for our goals in mathematics, but we did move towards them across our subgroups. You'll see a similar type of pattern across grade levels when it comes to mathematics. And across subgroups, we did see improvement. So our Black learners across the district did see a 2.8% increase from where they had been the previous school year. Our Hispanic learners, a 2.5% increase from where we had been from the previous school year. Our Asian learners, a 1.4% increase from where they were the previous school year. Our white learners, 1.5% increase from where we were the previous school year. And our students with disability, with IEPs, a 0.8% in a reduction, excuse me. It's the only subgroup that did decline a little bit were our students with IEPs. And then lastly, in terms of the Regents math, you'll see here passing grade in the Regents, and I see someone just put that in the chat. Passing grade for the Regents is a 65 to 79. They put it in multiple buckets. So it's 85 to 100, 80 to 84, 65 to 79, 55 to 64, and then below 55. So children that are in the 55 to 64, in some cases received, credit for completing the coursework and the Regents dependent on their IEP status. So they would have earned high school credit for it in this range of 55 to 64. But having said that, we did have 8.5% more of our Hispanic learners pass the Regents this year than the past, and 10% more of our Black learners pass the Regents than in the past. 2 more goals just quickly to talk to you about. All district schools, all districts and schools are more inclusive and responsive to parents and families, including having more families choose New York City public schools. In district, one of the pieces of data that's really important is making sure that our parents know the progress of their children. In the parent survey indicated that 86% of our families indicated that they have an idea of what the progress of their children are. To me, that has to improve. So we're looking for a 5% minimum increase across our buildings so that our schools are providing progress reports in some way, shape, or form for our families. Some schools have a digital capacity to do that, where they get digital information on the regular. Others use more of a paper-based type of scenario. But the goal is that more families have access to that information. And lastly, that we're promoting this idea of relational events and activities for our community. So what we've developed as a district is a calendar that will continue to expand. You're going to find that there are a number of events that we're going to be hosting at the district level, including algebra readiness sessions for family nights for families, math family nights in general, so they can see that what it is that we're doing inside of our schools. What we refer to as an Acadience parent workshop. I think this is really important for our parents in kindergarten through second grade. They've been strategically dated so that at the end of any Acadience diagnostic assessment, parents will have an opportunity to get an understanding as to what that data actually means for their children. So at the end of every diagnostic assessment window, we'll be doing an Acadience workshop from the district for parents. You'll also see an iReady workshop for parents across the district as well. So for any child that's taking the assessment in kindergarten through 8th grade, you will get a very clear view. We're going to ask that all parents have their laptops ready. We're going to have representatives from iReady come and actually show our parents what those data sets mean, and more importantly, what they can do with that information at home. To me, really a really important part of our work is making sure that our parents have an idea of what's going on with their children at home. And listen, I'm a parent. I have 2 children. I have an 8th grader and I have a 10th grader. I also have this job, so I know what it's like to have a scenario where there's just never enough time to get to everything. But I do know at the very least, we have to make sure that we're offering opportunities and access to parents. So while parents may not be able to come, we'll make sure that we record it so that our families have the ability to check it out at a later time if that night doesn't work for them. But these parts are super, super important to improvement in our schools. And I encourage you guys to share this calendar. We'll share it widely once we add in the last set of dates. There'll also be a special education series for any of our families in our communities that want to learn more about the special education process. The first one being at our CEC meeting in October. We have one of our representatives from the district will be presenting on that night, and then we'll be hosting a series of other workshops for families as the year goes on. Lastly, chronic absenteeism. And I know that this is a difficult one because no one necessarily tries to keep their children home. But in District 25, we had nearly 19% of children across the district with 18 or more days of absence. So that's nearly 1 in 5 children across the district that have seen that have been home for more time than we would like to see. If we add those 18 days up across their entire academic career with us, it would amount to 1 full year of school that a child would be missing, which is really, really significant and something that we have to try to curb as best as possible. So our schools are going to be working really hard. Every school has a team dedicated to supporting our families in this way. And I say this at any time I speak about it. I'm not encouraging any family to send a child in when they are sick. That always comes up, Dr. D'Antona, what am I supposed to do? My child is sick. And you know what? I will never tell you that you have to have your child there. But there are times when our children are staying home when they don't have to be. And I think it's important that we're able to connect with families to make sure that we're supporting whatever those needs are. At times we hear, what my daughter or my son is asthmatic, and I get really concerned during the winter months. Those are things that we can develop a plan with our parents with our school nurse. I know that it'll never alleviate completely the fears and anxieties we have as parents when we have children that do have asthma or things like that are concerning. But working with the school, we can make sure that our kids are in building more often than not. So our schools are going to be really focused on this. And grades that are the most important is kindergarten and first grade. And I say that because in kindergarten, 27% of our kindergartners were chronically absent last year. 21% of our first graders were chronically absent last year. And if I talk about pre-K, 45% of our pre-Kers were out 18 or more days last year. So it's just something that we have to collectively continue to support. And for any of you on the PTA or on the board for your school, if you know that some folks are struggling, please connect them with the building. There are ways that we can help. you know, and the more that we can do for our community, the better off we will all be in terms of making sure that our kids are readers. So something just really quickly, I know I'm taking a lot of airtime, I'm sorry. Priority one, things that we're going to be doing just so that, you know, to check in on it and that our schools should be doing. The Acadians assessment is going to be a support for us throughout the year. We're going to be measuring it 3 times a year. Priority 2, we're going to be surveying our kids 3 times a year to check on how they're feeling about that mutual respect for one another, as well as social emotional learning. And we're expecting to have a minimum of 2 projects as the year goes on in each of our schools. And this, we're going to really lean in on our middle schools the most in terms of these action projects. iReady will be done 3 times a year, both in 3 to 8 reading and K to 8 math. We do have a checklist to support what's going on in our classrooms that when we go to visit, we're going to be checking to see how practice is improving. Mathematics, I already mentioned. There'll be a parent survey that we do administer 3 times a year to get some feedback from our parents, and chronic absenteeism is reviewed routinely. Now, one of the ways that we are using, and this is a tool that's accessible to us, not for you, so sorry for those of you who might like this. I happen to love it. But we're going to be checking on our school work throughout the year through a data tool that was developed by Mr. Sarin from our district to kind of keep track of what is going on in our schools. You'll see that there are levels of performance in each of our buildings so that we can check in and provide support as the year is going on. I'm just showing this to you so you can have a quick little snapshot of that we have tools that we're going to be using to monitor as the year is progressing. And your buildings will have similar tools to support their work and keep everyone in a space of promoting improvement as the year goes on. So this is not to go in depth to this, but you'll see that along the left-hand side here, there are a series of things that we have organized so that we can provide that access and support to our buildings, and more importantly, use that information to make good decisions for our schools. The last thing I do want to show you, and I'm going to ask all SLTs to do, is connect on this end of on this language access form. Do you want to briefly open it so you can see it? This is to make sure that we have language supports for our families, to make sure that anyone who speaks a language other than English is being connected with on a routine basis. So we're asking all school leadership teams to do a quick self-evaluation on how they feel we're doing within these particular elements. So that's something you should see in your SLTs, as well as a language access needs survey. So if we have families that speak languages other than English, and this will be translated, everyone, and shared with our schools so that they can do a little bit of an assessment to make sure that if a family does need us to improve online interpretation or in-person interpretation, that we are making things more accessible to our community. Now, having said that, I've spoken a lot, so if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer any of them.
So just for a lot of the new people that are here, I see a lot of new faces. Our superintendent comes to our meetings and presents information for us. It might be a lot of information for you now because it's the first time, but as you come to the meetings, you'll get to know more and you'll get to find out more and how you could help your school and what your school is aligned to, the district goals. You'll get to find all this. I know it might be a little bit overwhelming, but in time you'll get to know it and you'll be a pro, and you'll get to ask the questions that you need to be ask to help your school, all your students in your school. And yeah, so thank you for being here. I don't see any questions or any hands up. Let me see.
Hi.
Oh, hand.
Hello.
Yay.
Oh, hi. Yes, I have a question. So everything that you talked about, we can bring that back to a PTA meeting, or for specifics? I mean, there was a lot of information. I'm
Yeah.
sure some of it is confidential, but you did mention some information that we should bring back. How would we
Yeah,
figure that out?
so things that, go ahead, Esther.
I'm sorry. So as you know, the meeting is being recorded. At the end of the meeting, Louis edits, you know, like when we're talking, or, you know, he leaves the meat of the meeting, and you're able to find it, and I'll show you where. So at a meeting, if you want to go ahead and play Dr. Mike back, maybe not all of it, but a certain portion, I'll show you how to do that later on, where you could go and find the recording and play that at your PA-PTA meeting. And it'll be like Dr. Mike is at your PA-PTA meeting, but he's going to be recorded.
Oh, God, just as long as I don't have to hear myself is fine. As long as I don't have to listen to me, then I'm completely good with that.
But yes, anything that
So
is
there-
shared at President's Council, it's meant for you to turn key and go ahead so in your agenda, you should have, you know, President's Council report. And so you would say at the President's Council on September 16, quorum was met. They're still looking for, you know, recording secretary. Superintendent spoke. This is what he said, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to show you the video. And
So you'll never hear me use things in any of these presentations that's not shareable. I'll make information transparent to the community. So I will never use students, but I can use in large scale. How is it that we're performing? What is it that does that mean in terms of our goals? That I'll always make accessible to you, but it's also for you as not only PTA, but as you participate in SLTs in your school leadership team, things that you should just be listening out for. You know, are we talking about the performance of our kids? Are we talking about how we're organizing our plans to support improvement? Those are things I just share them here just as a means of for when you go back to those meetings, you know, am I hearing any of these things inside of my own school? Because you should. If you have it, if you're not, then you should. And you know, those are things that you can always ask about when you go to your team meetings.
Which means that obviously everything that's being spoken about here is being spoken about to principals, to vice principals, which is the SLT meetings.
Correct.
Just
Yeah.
trying
So
to connect the dots. This is all
anything I share, I try to
new to me.
share with every single constituent
Thank
group.
you.
So CEC, I'll share it here. I'll share it at DLT. And I do that just to make sure that everyone's on as much of the same page as possible when it comes to district goals and expectations.
Thank you so much.
Sure, you're welcome. Thank you. That's a great question.
I don't see anything else. Anybody else have anything?
Dr. Mike and Exeter, I have a question.
Yeah.
Excuse my nasalness. So on SLT, we have our members, but is it open to the parents to come in if they want to join SLT?
So there are core members of the SLT. Anyone can come, just as an observer. So the only ones that are able to really participate in a voting space or to even speak really are members of the SLT itself. But those are open meetings. They are part of open meeting law, which Esther can certainly share more about. But any parent can come as an observer to listen in for sure.
Okay, perfect. Because I know last year no parents came in as observing, but when I was there in the school first year was virtual, and we had more parents just, you know, joining in and listening. So I do want to get more parents. I know it's like at 3:30 that we're doing it, but parents wants to know and want to get involved.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know if that was an option so I can bring that up on the next SLT that we have to get that parent engagement.
Yes, certainly. And listen, anything that comes from the SLT can certainly then be shared during your PTA meetings, you know, with your constituents, you know. So what happens in one, if they're not able to attend the SLT, it can certainly then be shared at those meetings too.
So just really quick, the open meeting laws comes from the state of New York, meaning that SLT meetings have to be in person along with CEC. Those meetings have to be in person by open meetings law, and I could go ahead and share the script that they sent down, which I already shared with your parent coordinators, but I could go ahead and send it to make sure that all of you get it. Okay, so we'll go back to sharing my screen so we can continue. Rachel, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
No, let me see if I'm ready. Hold on. Where did it go? Oh. And here we go. And I believe, let me bring this down so it won't bug anybody. All right. Is that blocking? All right, hold on. So we went through there. This is just a quick reminder that all of your meetings, you must have your Chancellor's Regulation 8660 and your school's bylaws. The Chancellor Regulation is like what tells us what to do, and your school bylaws is how you amend or how you go ahead and have your so do you want me to share now, Rachel, or do you want me to wait to the end?
You can share now.
Okay, so as you could see here, let me share at the end. Is that okay? Because it's
sure.
Okay, so let me go to the, go ahead. Do you want me to do it?
Sure.
So many of you were asking, what does a letter look like? I went ahead and went to your president to ask her, what does a letter look like that you go ahead and send to your parents? Remember that all of your parents in your school are part of the PAPTA. If they do not donate money, it does not mean that you exclude them. It's not like a Sam's Club or a Costco. If you don't pay your membership, you can't join. All your parents are part of the PAPTA. Okay, so this is a letter. This is a sample letter that was sent out last year, 23-24 for PSIS 499. So you can look at it. I know some of you were asking about this. Then I'll go ahead and go to the next one, which this is a letter for this year for PS 169. And you'll see they go ahead and list, you'll see the difference in the letter. You adapt what's best for your school and go ahead and send that out and ask for a donation from your parents, okay? As you saw here, this one has an amount donation. They have a set, or you could do the other, and the other school, I believe, had more of a choice, 25, 30, 50, 75, 100. You yourself know your community. Maybe there's other schools that could give more money. Maybe they're, you know for a fact that the schools, you could go ahead and ask for more money. Or if you're aware that your school community cannot, then you go ahead and ask for 20. It's up to you. You make it accordingly. There's not a set letter.
Another thing is you also want to check your bylaws, because oftentimes in the bylaws it will set a suggested amount for the membership dues. So you would generally want to set that amount where, for example, on the left side of the page where it says the suggested amount is $25 per family. That's something that I took directly out of our bylaws when creating this document.
Okay. Rachel?
So these are our meeting dates for the year. The asterisks indicate when it's changed from our normal schedule due to a holiday or other conflict. The meetings are generally the third Wednesday of every month. Monday, sorry. I'm thinking of my PTA. The third Monday of every month. So the dates for this year are October 21st, November 18th, and December 16th. And for 2025 would be January 27th, February 24th, March 17th, April 21st, May 19th, and then June 16th, which would be the elections for the following year's executive board for President's Council.
And just a quick reminder, we will not be able to have a successful election if all the PAPTAs, you have to have your elections first so that you guys will come and vote for the incoming, because your school year does not end till the end. But we'll tell you more about elections and walk you through that whole thing once we get closer. This is something that a lot of you already know. So DOE is issuing external email accounts, and the people that are getting it is the PTA executive board members and the PAC members, which will be the chair, alternate, and secretary. If you are a Title I, you have a PAC. Just so you know, our parent coordinators will be supporting our parent leaders when it comes to this. And the parent coordinators have now, as of yesterday, all of them have access to the portal to go ahead and start issuing those emails. On September 27th, we will be meeting with all our parent coordinators at our monthly PC meeting at the district. And we will be going one by one to see what parents still need access, what's going on to make sure that all our parents have access by the 27th, or, you know, a week after that, so you can all go ahead and get your external email. These are just helpful websites so that you could get familiar with PAPTA. You have any questions? And I asked Rachel to go ahead and share with you, and I will as soon as I'm done with this.
No.
All right. You want to share this, Rachel?
Can you?
Oh, this is so, as Rachel, your president, and they get a lot of invitations, and so do we at the district office. I myself turnkey all the information for parents' information to the parent coordinator, so that they're aware to give you information so you can get turnkey this information to your PAPTA meetings. This is an event, workshop that's coming up on September 25th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. And this is a workshop being offered by Queens UFT Parents Workshop. So it's building confidence as a parent. And this is what they're going to be offering. And you can go ahead and use the link here to go ahead and register. There we go. This is another announcement. As you know, last year, and we'll have them again, PTA Link is a website where you could go and get all the answers that you want in regards to anything associated PAPTA. The way this PAPTA Link started, it was a bunch of parents in Brooklyn that wanted answers, that were new at PAPTAs, that really didn't have, or getting answers. So they decided to start a web page, and it became PAPTA Link. Since then, the person that started, her name is Rachel. She went ahead and partnered up with another organization who took over, and they're having a training back to PAPTA basics, and that's on September 26th at 7 p.m. You could go ahead and register, or go to their PAPTAlink.org home address webpage, and you could go ahead and sign up. I will be there joined, so I hope that a lot of you join so we can learn together. And and this is just coming from the borough president. As you know, today is Mexican Independence Day, and September 15 was a lot of the Central American countries' Independence Day. And they're doing a big Mexican Independence Day celebration tomorrow. If you're around and you want to join, please do not hesitate to go ahead and join the party. You could definitely find more information on his webpage. Now I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so I could share what I wanted to go back to my thing. Hold on a second.
Esther, I have one other announcement really quick if you got a second.
Okay, let me go ahead.
So just to let everyone know, we do have 2 vacancies on the CEC Council right now. So if you or anyone on your PTA or in the school community is interested, please feel free to go to the CEC website and apply, as we are looking to fill those seats.
Thank you. So let me share really quick again. And there goes Lewis. Give me 1 second. I don't have time. All right, so this is, let me move all the stuff. This is our District 25 webpage, where you could find us, d25.nyc. And this is where you would go to our website, District 25. This is the homepage, and it tells you welcome, and it gives you information. And then you would go to events. Any event that you hear of or you might know, it's going to be here for the district. All the events that Dr. Mike talked about will be here. This is some events that we had in the summer. Then you would go to About Us. This is where you get to meet the rest of my team. Awesome. This is all of us. So this is where you see the superintendent, our deputy, Louis, Jenny, and myself, in a little description of what we do. This is our instructional team, our math instructional lead, Els. These are the people that you'll see at your schools. So you get to read all about them. And this is all my team. So on top of Dr. Mike being all busy, he manages all of us here. And this is our team. Awesome. You can go ahead and read personally. This is our social worker wing. This is Nathan, who has come to our meetings in the past and gives a presentation on special education, and we will invite him again. These are more instructional lead people. These are all just everybody on the team. So let me go ahead, play around with it, come and these are our public schools, as you know, these are our public meetings. This is where you would go. Say you want to next month and you can't find the thing, you would just go in here, President's Council. It tells you all the information. Who are we? You're going to find the meeting dates here, who your president board is here. And here's the recording. Everything. This is from June 10th, but you'll see like the most recent recording will be here. This is where you would find it, and you would go and you could share snippets of or invite your parents to go ahead and see the recordings. There's a sign-in sheet. If you have any questions, you could go ahead and email council through here. And any meeting documents, you'll go ahead and find it here. And Louis was so kind to help us out. He does not just come to the meeting to turn the record button. He really helps us out. It's Chancellor's Regulation 8660, the PAPTA link, and all the recordings can be found here. So let me go to PAPTA link really quick. And this is what I was telling you about PAPTA link. Anything that you need to learn about them, upcoming events right here. This is what I told you about. If you want to go ahead and join, click on that, sign up, and then you could, we'll see each other that day on the 26th to learn. Anything that you might, fundraisers, you have a question about fundraisers, you click there. Everything is here. Planning an event, everything's here. They really strategize and did a really good job. Let me go back here. What else? We have a newsletter. There's a monthly newsletter that our colleague Marissa puts together, and it's mailed out. You're more than welcome to see any past newsletters from the prior school year, but everything will be here. It's a one-stop shop. You want to know about our schools? These are our schools. There's 36 schools in our district. That's right, 36. 34 elementary and middle schools and 2 pre-K centers. This is where you will find their information. So you're just new to the district and you don't know who your parent coordinator is. You click here and you go ahead and see who your parent coordinator, their email address and their number. The way it works, any information for PAPTA presidents, I turnkey that information to the parent coordinators, who then turnkey that information to you. Let me see. Oops. Where am I at? Sorry. Yipes, there's so many things open now. Sorry. What else? What else? That's it. Enrich our calendar. Our calendars, the school year takes you to the DOE website where you could go ahead and find the school, your calendar. Let me go ahead and take you to Chancellor's Regulation. And as I showed you, Louis went ahead and clicked Chancellor's Regulation. Chancellor's Regulation A660 is for PAPTAs, parent associations. This is where you would find everything. So I gave you an example earlier in the presentation, right? Where do you know? There was a question. So you could only run for president for 1 month, for 1 year? Yes, then you would have to rerun again. So say you have to look at your school bylaws. How many term limits can you have? If your school bylaws say that you could only have 2 term limits, that means that you run 1 year and you could run the next. But what happens on the 3rd year? You still want to run. If nobody runs, then you could go ahead and run. But if Esther decides to run against you, then you have to step down because you already did 2 consecutive years according to your school bylaws. And I just want to show you where I got. So this is where you would get all the information that you need. So I went ahead and told you page 11, Chancellor's Regulations. So let me just show you. So it tells you right here, terms. PAPTA, let me see, is that where I got it? All officers must be held. Okay, it was on page 11. This is page 11. It was. Here we
Number
go.
1.
PAPTA officers are elected to serve for 1-year term beginning July 1st. That's what I copied exactly and shared with you. So you always want to have a copy of this at your meeting. So in case somebody has a question, you're able to flip through. There's a lot of pages, but once you start looking at it, you'll get to familiar with where everything is at. Okay. And that's it. I think, I don't think I have anything else to share with you guys today. PAPTA link is also, I showed you guys, it's a very useful, our DOE, our District 25, and also, this is bugging me. This right here is the DOE website, schools.nyc. This is where you get all the information, and you would go ahead and go into the search engine and just write PA, and right away you'll see parent and parent teacher association. Click on that. Once you click on that, this is the DOE website. It's going to give you everything you need to know for the new parents that are here about, PAPTAs. It's going to give you, what is a PA? It's a parent association. What is a PTA? Parent teacher association. What is this organization? What do they do? So it gives you, it talks about the members, the officers, the elections, everything that you need. If you want to file a grievance, this is, and here's again, the link to your A660. How do meetings run? You have to have 10 monthly general membership meetings and 10 executive meetings throughout the year, right? And you have to meet with your principal. Even though PAPTA and President's Council are autonomous and they go ahead and pretty much follow the regulations, they could go ahead, but out of courtesy, you're in the principal's running your building. Out of courtesy, you let them know everything, overshare with them, let them know an email. We're having this event. Here's a flyer. Let us know what you think. They might catch a misspell, or they might tell you, oh, can you please move that date to this date because we're having this. So you're working in collaboration with them. And you're always out of courtesy letting them know what are the PAPTA. And it might be that your principal comes to all your PAPTA meetings, or somebody from the school comes. Like, look at our superintendent, like a principal. He came to our meeting today to go ahead and share information. At your school, it's going to look different. Your principal might come and share all the wonderful things going on at your school. And so you want to invite them. And that's it for me. I'll stop sharing. I don't want to keep talking, but I'm here if you guys need anything. And so is Rachel and Myrna.
Thank you, Esther, for all that information. It was a lot of good points to cover, and definitely use PTA link, use President's Council. We're here to help make your life easier.
And really quick, if you need a copy printed of your PA of the chancellor's regulation, don't hesitate to email me. I would print the copy for you because it's a lot. I will go ahead and make copies for you, but just let me know. And I'll go ahead. Usually the parent coordinator could make a copy of for you. A lot of you might have access to a computer and a printer at the school. You could go ahead and make a copy, one copy so that everybody could share. And you could go ahead and highlight, and that could be your master where you guys make notes and everything. Other than
Esther,
that,
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a Padlet in our website. Can I throw that chancellor's regulations on the Padlet there? So parents has access to
You
it?
have a what on your what? I'm sorry. Repeat it again.
I have such a stuffy nose. We have a portion in our school's website, a Padlet.
Okay.
So I was wondering if we can throw the chancellor's regulations on the
Yes.
Padlet so parents can see. Yes? And our bylaws too, is that possible as well? So it's
could do
always on hand?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
You could also put the link to the district website if you like.
Great. More accessibilities for the parents.
Yeah, just so they'll be aware. Yep, that would work. Any other questions? Anything else? I don't see anything in the chat. I stopped sharing.
Our executive board meeting with our principal and our parent coordinator, can it be done through Zoom or it has to be in person?
So your PAPTA, that could be done through Zoom.
Okay,
You're
perfect.
not under the open meetings law.
Great, thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions for Esther or Dr. Mike or myself before we end the September meeting of President's Council?
Did you want to
Okay.
say anything to us?
Well, it is 8:07, and if someone could make a motion to bring the September meeting of President's Council to a close, make a motion and state your name, please.
Motion
do
for
it.
close, Maria Pacheco.
Thank you. If somebody could second the motion and state your name.
And Kim Wong, I second the motion.
Thank you, Amy and Mirna. So it's 8:07 and the September meeting of President's Council is officially drawn to a close. Thank you all for participating and for joining us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you in October for our October meeting. Have a
And
good
we'll stick
evening,
around.
everyone.
Yeah, we'll stick around if you have any questions. And if there was too much and you need me to go slower, we could go ahead. I could do a one-on-one with you if you like to go over. Just let me know so we can set it up.
Have a great night.